Do you ever just feel uninspired? I'm currently having one of those kinds of days, which is hard, especially as a content creator, because that's supposed to be your entire job, is being creative. But you can't really create something if you're not creatively inspired to do so. This lack of inspiration applies to anything creative. Sometimes this lack of inspiration can be caused by burnout, especially if it's something you do every single day of your life. Or sometimes you can just be having an off day, and that's okay. Creativity isn't something you can really force. I mean, you can try, but usually you won't really get anywhere, or if you do, you probably won't get the kind of results you want. And also, forcing it isn't satisfying or fulfilling. It won't help you express whatever you're trying to express with whatever you're creating. The whole process will just feel off. In most cases, creativity is just something that kind of has to happen on its own, and it's okay to take a step back and just let it happen naturally. If you don't feel up to creating, it's okay to just take a day. Let yourself relax, let your brain reset. I guarantee you'll feel better about it and even more inspired when you come back later. You know that episode of SpongeBob where he's writing a paper and he just manages to write the word "the" and then like the entire house burns down? That's kind of how it can feel sometimes. Especially for like writer's block, it's so annoying. Like you want to create something but your mind just goes blank. You cannot think of any ideas, you can't write anything, you just cannot do anything. Your brain just cannot focus on it. This can happen in any creative field. Whether you're writing, drawing, making music, videos, trying to come up with ideas, and so on. It happens to everyone. But instead of stressing about it when you're having one of these kinds of days, maybe just try to look for inspiration. Everything is inspired by something after all, and it's okay to take inspiration from somewhere as long as you don't completely rip off the original idea. Make it your own and put your own spin on it. It'll be even more special to you that way. Because it'll be something you did with your own unique perspective, your own unique ideas, and it'll be special to you. As humans in general, but especially for creative people, we go through phases of being consumers and being creators. Sometimes we feel like making something, and we'll put all of our effort in and we'll make something amazing. But it's impossible to be in a creative mindset 24/7. The other side of creativity is consumption. You need to experience things in order to have good ideas in the first place. Experiences get our creative brain juices flowing and get us feeling inspired to make something. It's completely okay to take a break from creating for a bit and be in a consumption phase as long as you don't waste your entire time doom scrolling social media and TikTok. Look for new ideas, experience new things, watch some videos or movies, or maybe even just take a walk and let your brain relax. Hang out with some friends, touch some grass. Just enjoy nature for a bit. I guarantee you'll feel much better and definitely less frustrated about your brain not working. Seeing other people's creations will help you develop your own taste as well, what you like and what you don't like about things, and it'll help you develop your own creative style. It can help with direction too, which can be another big struggle. Sometimes you may want to create something, but just don't know exactly what or where to get started. Take a YouTube video for example. Say you want to make one. Sometimes it can be hard to get started. I know I struggle with this. What's a good video idea? A good title? Thumbnail? How do you make the video itself? How do you be entertaining? How do you keep people watching? It can all be a lot to figure out if you don't have any idea of a structure to work with. But with getting started, the thing that I found that works best for me is literally just doing it. Just jump in somewhere. You don't have to overthink it or be a perfectionist about every little detail. Just do something. Get started with one piece of it and the rest will follow. You actually have to want to create the thing too. If it's not something you really want to do or you're not passionate about, you're not going to have any motivation in the first place to get started. And especially if it is a personal creative project, why would you force yourself to do something that you're not passionate about? It'd be better for you to work on something that you actually want to create and something you're excited about. Making yourself do something that you don't really want to do will just make the entire thing worse. You won't be motivated, you won't put all of your effort in, you'll procrastinate, and you probably won't even get the result that you want at the end, and it just won't be worth it. Creativity shouldn't have to be hard, usually. I'm not saying that there aren't hard parts to all creative projects, because there are, but the act of doing it should be fulfilling, and you should be proud of what you made when you finish. The struggle shouldn't be you forcing yourself to do it in the first place. Remember that it's okay to take time, let things happen naturally, and especially don't rush. Things will work out if you're creating something that you actually really care about, and you'll be really proud that you did. But it's okay to take a break every once in a while. I know everyone always says to be careful what you post on the internet, but I want to talk about just how important it actually is. Especially nowadays when everyone's on social media and everyone's trying to be an influencer. It's important to not overshare. It's important to keep your private life private, and it's important to be careful who you trust on the internet, because you truly never know who's actually watching. We've all been guilty of this, and I know I have. If something important or exciting happens in our lives, we feel the need to share and talk about it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's in our human nature. We're social creatures and love to communicate. That's why social media is as widely used and successful as it is. But we should all be more careful about what we talk about on our public social media profiles. Any information that we put out there, accidentally or not, is out there forever, accessible by anyone willing to dig deep enough to find it. Important dates, names, relationships, photos, videos, they're all things we should be more careful about, because anything can be discovered by anyone, no matter their intentions. Unless you're actively making content for monetary gain, there's really no need to overshare your life. You aren't getting anything out of it besides risking your own safety and your own mental health. And it's okay to just not post. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a private life. And there are some things that just shouldn't be shared. Some things are just better kept private, even if they may be exciting and shareable. Like private family stuff. As an example, not everyone needs to publicly know the exact events of your grandma's birthday party. Not everyone cares. Besides, maybe somebody after your information. I don't know if any of you guys will know what I'm talking about, but do any of you remember family home movies? I know as a kid my parents had a camcorder and they would record it like Christmas or birthday parties or just on random days. Videos just for them to look back on and for me to look back on once I grew up. I have videos of me as a toddler, but videos like that are never and were never really meant to be shared. They're meant to be private. But since the existence of social media, you don't really see that as much. People still record, but now many people do it for views on social media. People don't do it just for themselves, if you know what I mean. Many people do it for clicks and likes, and less for just memories. I'm not that old, I'm only 22, but it's fascinating to me how much things have changed just within my lifetime. And none of this is even to mention corporations. Every single app you use on your phone, computers, websites you visit, the owners of all of these have and store all of your data. Everything you post, anything you put out there is theirs. And you know what they do with this data? They sell it all to advertisers. It's all a business and they're all profiting. And you get served more creepily relevant ads and content. Oversharing is never good for your own mental health either. Social media tricks us all into prioritizing clicks and views, comparing ourselves to others. But what we should really prioritize are our own experiences. Instead of trying to use everything for social media, we should try to just enjoy the moment of whatever's going on, being present in the moment. Also, everything we share has the ability to be commented on by others. Anyone can share their opinions, and if you're oversharing your life, this could and definitely can affect your mental health and decisions. This is another video in of itself, but people's negative opinions should never determine your own life choices. A random person on the internet's opinion on how you're living your life shouldn't matter and doesn't need to matter. It's okay not to share. It's okay to keep your life private, and I encourage you to do so. You'll definitely be safer if you do. I know I've cut back on my sharing and my social media usage as a whole within the last year, and I'm a lot happier because of it. As a content creator especially, it can sometimes be hard to keep your online presence and your personal life separated, but just remember that the internet doesn't need to know everything about you. Social media doesn't need to know every aspect of your life. Be selective about what you do put out there, because everything that you do put out is out there forever. It's a permanent record and a public one, and even the creepiest and most dangerous people can access it if they know how. Just be mindful and selective. Where's the line of when what you're sharing is too much? I guess it's different for everyone. It really just depends on your comfort level. But I'm here to tell you that no matter what your comfort level is, just to be safe. Be careful who you trust and be careful with what information you share, because in reality, anyone can be anyone they want on the internet. I'm making this video for people like me, aspiring YouTubers, content creators, filmmakers, and so on, because especially if you're just starting out, this is by no means an easy path, but it's definitely a fulfilling one. If you want to be a successful content creator, you absolutely have to enjoy the process. And I mean this for those who want to do this as their full-time job. This isn't a job where you can clock in every day, tune out and do your work and then go home. It's quite the opposite, especially if you're going at it alone, as many of us who have a YouTube channel are. But it is 100% still possible. Thousands of others have become successful content creators, and so can you. But in the majority of cases, it's never easy. You have to actively and continuously learn multiple different roles, and it can be a lot. First, and arguably most importantly, you have to be comfortable in front of the camera. You have to be comfortable being yourself and being entertaining. For some of us, that'll come naturally, but for others, that'll take time and effort. You also need to learn how to edit to be able to improve your videos. Cutting out unneeded parts, trimming, effects, captioning, whatever your video needs done. Editing can be tedious, and for many of us will take up the most amount of time when producing a piece of content. Unless, well, you're making a video like this. Graphic design is also a skill you'll need to be able to make compelling thumbnails that people will actually click on and look interesting. Titles also go along with that. And on top of the production aspect, it's important to be able to read your analytics and make changes based on them, spot trends, engage with your audience to build a community, and so much more. But this video isn't about the exact steps you need to take to be a successful YouTuber. My point is, to be able to learn all of those skills and to be able to use them all effectively, you will absolutely need to enjoy doing so. You'll need to enjoy the process of learning, trying and failing over and over. It could take months, even years. It's taken me many years to be able to do this. It'll be hundreds of times harder if you don't actually enjoy what you're doing, and I feel like that applies to most things. I've had my channel since 2015 and I'm still learning and improving as I go. I'm by no means a big successful YouTuber or an expert in this. But what I do have and what I can share is my own personal experience. And from my experience, what I do know is that you have to be passionate about this in order to succeed, or else it'll just lead to burnout. Even those who are passionate about this and do this every single day of their lives experience burnout from time to time, and I know I have. It's okay to take your time with your creative work and your creative process, and if you want more on that, I made a whole video talking about it. You should watch it after this. It's especially important to take care of your mental health. No matter what's going on in your life, it's important, but to apply it to content creation, it's especially important to take care of yourself and to take your time with things. You should take care of all aspects of your life to be able to fuel yourself mentally in order to take on all of the aspects of content creation. Creativity is much easier if you're in a sound place mentally. Nothing makes it more difficult than trying to struggle through being creative when other things are going on in your life, or things are negatively affecting you, causing anxiety or depression or so on. It's kind of hard to explain, but here's an analogy that's helped me to describe it. Think of a glass. This glass represents your daily mental capacity. Each portion of water you pour into the glass represents one aspect of your life. Family, friends, relationships, events, work, it all fills the glass and adds up. Now add content creation. That's a lot of jobs all in one. It'll take up a lot of space in the glass. Will it overflow with all the other things added? If you try to do all of it at once, maybe. But if you give yourself time and prioritize yourself, work through it piece by piece, it won't be as hard. It won't take up as much space. Or do what you can on days that you have more time to focus on it without stressing yourself. Does that make any sense? My advice is to not rush. Keep going, keep improving, and you'll get there. It's okay for it to take time. It's often looked at as, when you're successful, you'll be happy. But wouldn't it be better to be happy becoming successful, to enjoy each step of what you're doing? More than anything, you should enjoy what you're doing and love the process. You are in complete control of what you do with your life. It's as simple as that. You make your own choices. You choose what you want to do, both big decisions and small ones that you make from day to day. Life is all about choices. So if you're currently unhappy in your life, why not make a change? Why not do something to better yourself? If you're truly unhappy, you should make the choice to take care of yourself and better yourself. And I know that's vague, but honestly, I feel like it applies to all situations. It's not meant to be specific. No matter what you're going through that's making you upset or dislike your current situation, you have the power to change and improve your life. You have the freedom and the free will to change something in order to make things better. I'm not saying it'll always be easy. It definitely definitely won't. Nothing is easy, and there are definitely some things that happen to us that we just can't control. Life happens, and there's a lot that we just don't have any sort of power or control over and can't change. But you do have the power to do anything you want to do, and at least try to make any sort of change that you want to make. You can accomplish anything you want if you put your mind to it. I've learned the hard way that our time here on Earth is very limited. Anything can happen at any moment, so while you're here, you might as well do your best to enjoy it. You might as well do whatever it is that you want to do that makes you happy. Instead of wishing that you were happy, you should put effort into getting to a happier place. I've fallen into this bad mindset before, saying, I wish I was happy, I wish things were better. Maybe things will be better next month or next year. Maybe things will start looking up. But what I've learned through that is that if you want things to be better, you have to actually try to make them better. Nobody is going to do it for you. You have to take the reins and take control of your own life and choose to make an effort into doing something about it instead of wishing and waiting. If you're unhappy, the only way out of it is to do something about it. And what you do about it is your choice. I'm making this video because people genuinely need to hear this. You listening, you probably need to hear that you can make things better if you just put the effort in. But nobody can make you. It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You have to make the decision to better yourself on your own. And what I'm saying isn't anything new or groundbreaking. There's probably tons of motivational videos out there saying the exact same thing. You can listen to videos like this as much as you want, but it won't change anything until you actually take the advice and act on it. And that is what people need to hear. I know I needed to hear that a couple years ago. I needed to hear that if I want my situation to be better, I actually need to attempt to make it better. I learned that after a while of waiting for things to get better and seeing no results. But I wasn't seeing results because I wasn't actively doing anything to change anything. And you absolutely can choose to do nothing about it, but you won't get anywhere by doing so. You won't grow as a person or improve. You have to take action to pursue happiness, whatever that means for you in your specific situation. Whatever your own wants and needs are, it's okay to focus on those things. It's okay to seek fulfillment in what you enjoy. Set goals for yourself to achieve and work on progressing towards them. And you should never be alone. It's okay to accept help and support from those around you. Surround yourself with people who will support you and lift you up. People who are a positive influence on your life and who support your goals are important, because it's important for you to know that you're never alone and that you have people you can rely on when you need them. People who will lend a hand when you're in a bad situation or are going through something. You deserve to be cared about. But also be careful who you do surround yourself with. Be selective. Don't keep people around who will only negatively affect you. Harmful relationships will only drag you down, and we all know at least one person who is constantly negative and only ever shares their negative opinions. It's important to not let others' negative opinions affect you. A lot of times people's opinions are based out of their own insecurities and fears, sometimes even jealousy. And if they're just going to be negative, they don't really need to be in your life in the first place. You should do what you want with your own life, and you have the freedom to do so. Now, do I mean to disregard everyone? No, absolutely not. Other people's help and feedback is important, but there's a difference between constructive criticism and projecting negative opinions and judging. You don't have to do something just because someone thinks that you should. You're the only person that you have to live with for your entire life. Just don't take that to an extreme, if that makes sense. What I mean is that you should pursue your own wants and goals over other people's opinions of what you should be doing with your life. Live to fulfill yourself. The ones who do support you and your goals are the ones that you should keep in your life. The people who are there for you and will stick by you no matter what. The people willing to help you get to where you want to be. Those are the people that matter. And through everything, remember to be yourself. So I'm currently at a sort of crossroads in life, and I wanted to make a video talking about it in case any of you can relate, and I'm sure you can. Without getting too personal, I'm not sure exactly where I'll be in the next few months. I'm not sure what my day-to-day life will look like. My living situation will be changing, and I'll most likely be moving, and I'm not sure where to yet. Which, that can be difficult when you're in a sort of routine. And it's not just about moving, but that's the simplest way to put it without getting too personal. It's a difficult choice to make that'll determine where I'll be and which sort of path my life will take from here on out. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Whatever choice I make kind of determines a lot about my future, and it's not easy when something like that comes up when you're currently content. But change is inevitable, kinda like the Big Purple guy says. And don't take this as me wanting you guys to feel sorry for me, it's just how life is. This video is for you to kind of see how I'm dealing with it, and to see that you're not alone if you're in a similar situation. Through dealing with this sort of thing myself and trying to figure out what to do, I've found that the best thing you can do is to just stop worrying. Easier said than done, right? But seriously, if there's nothing you can do to control it, if you can't change anything yourself, you're better off just waiting for things to play out on their own. Because things definitely will work out eventually. You can't worry about things 24/7. My girlfriend told me that, and I've been trying to take that advice. I still don't know what's gonna happen, but I've realized that all I can do is focus on the day-to-day. Focus on being happy and continuing to live my life. How you feel is very much determined by what you focus on, and you can choose what you focus your mental energy on. Whatever you give power to in your own mind will determine your mindset. Example, if you focus on negativity, your mind will just fester negative emotions. You won't be happy. But if you focus on the good things happening in your life and the good things happening around you, things will seem a lot brighter and less stressful. Your mindset is everything. Which brings me back to worrying about change. If your life is changing and that's all you can think about and all you can worry about, then that's all your mind will focus on. That's all you'll be able to focus on. You have to occupy yourself with other things and other thoughts. Focus on where you are now and be grateful for what you do have. Now, I don't mean to ignore everything happening around you and to be unprepared. What I mean is to not give it all your mental space, especially if you're just going to worry about it. In situations like that, it's better to try to just let things play out however they will. If you have a difficult choice to make, like I currently do, see about weighing your options. Make a list if that helps. Write out the positives and the negatives of both sides of your decision and see which benefits you more. Whichever choice you'd be happier with is more than likely the correct answer, and I know it can be hard to choose when it comes down to it. And sometimes it won't always be clear what the best choice is, and that's okay. Try to pick the best option for you. Whichever one feels like it'll be better for you long term and fulfill your long term happiness. Depending on what your personal situation is like, the choices you make could affect those around you as well. Your friends, family, your significant other. In my situation with where I'll be living, it'll be affecting the frequency that I see certain people in my life. That's the part that's making it difficult for me. Things aren't always easy, but it's important to keep the people close to you close, no matter where you end up. Things are different for everyone, but that applies to all situations. It's hard to do anything alone. Plus, if the people in your life care, you can always ask them for advice. You don't have to be alone through any sort of change or crossroads that you may be at. Through everything though, make sure to stick to your ideals. Stick to what you want to do with your life, and don't let anyone else's negative opinions change that. You're the only one that you have to live with for your entire life, so it's best to do what you want. Do what makes you happy and fulfills you, no matter where life's random obstacles take you. I talk about this a little bit more in another video. Your own comfort zone can also play a part in getting past a crossroads in life. The comfortable path may not always be the correct one. A lot of people say that you can live comfortably, but you won't grow by doing so. Never leaving your comfort zone can stop you from experiencing new things and moving forward in life, whatever that means for you. And I do get that it can be scary to do so, but it's also important to grow. And sometimes you can be forced out of your comfort zone depending on your situation, which isn't great, but it's best to be prepared. No matter what, you will be okay. Seek support from others when you need it. My point is, sometimes you just gotta go with the flow and see what happens. Try to have a plan, but overthinking it and worrying about it won't get you any closer to where you need to be. It'll only be another obstacle that you have to overcome in your journey. Do you have a project that you so badly want to complete, but you just can't bring yourself to do it? Something that you just can't bring yourself to get started on. This could be anything that you want to get done, work-related or a hobby. The reason why you can't do it could be many things, because it's just too much work, it's overwhelming, you're preoccupied, or anything else really. But why does it seem so difficult? Well, for starters, I know exactly how you feel. My own struggle with this is what inspired me to work on this video. For me, with many of my videos, but especially for the character overview or lore-based videos, I have to write a script. The content is just too much to remember and to restate off the top of my head, and a script keeps things neat and organized while also making sure that I'm saying the right things at the right times, keeping people engaged, and remembering everything. You get the point. But that in particular is my least favorite part of being a creator. Half the time I just can't bring myself to sit down and actually write the script. It's just something about sitting at my computer staring at a blank Google Doc that makes the whole process seem difficult and like much too big of a task. When in reality, I know it doesn't have to be that difficult. Like, how hard is it to sit and type after all? My point is, I completely get it. But when I'm faced with something like this, what helps me is to literally just jump in. Especially when it's something that you need to do. Just start one piece of your task. In my case with writing, just start with writing one sentence. Just write the intro. That's easy enough, right? You might not like it and your brain might try to distract you into doing something else, but focus on starting your task. For some reason, with me at least, this works. I'll just write one paragraph, and by the time I do that, I have an idea for the next part and write that down. And I tend to keep writing until eventually I have a whole page filled. And then I stare back at it confused as to how I actually did that. What I'm trying to say is that a started task is often easier to continue because you're not starting from scratch. You have something to work with. And that makes it a lot easier, some direction. By doing this, momentum will build, and before you know it, you'll have half your project done without even realizing it. This usually happens if you're able to get into a flow state. If you haven't heard of that, picture a hyper-focus on your work, task, or project, or whatever you're working on. When you get into a flow state, completely free of distractions and are completely focused on what you're doing, you're able to be much more efficient at it, working at a faster pace and getting more done than you usually would. Like, you know when you're so focused on a show or a video game that you don't even realize that you're watching or playing, and when you're done, you don't even realize how much time has passed? Imagine that for something more productive. It differs for each person really, but generally it takes around 10 minutes of complete distraction-free focus for someone to reach a flow state. But when you do, and you're able to be this focused on your work, it's completely worth it. It doesn't matter where, just pick a place and start. You'll be glad you did. You might be surprised by how much you can accomplish. If it helps as well, set a timer for yourself. Say, set a timer for 30 minutes from now. At that time, no matter what, tell yourself that you will start your task. Make yourself make some progress on it, no matter how tiny. What matters is that you did something. 10% is much better than 0, and it'll make things much easier to continue later on. Set a timer for when you can stop too if you want. The point is to do something to work towards your goal. Even if you don't feel like you got anywhere at the end, at least you started it. That's that much less you have to do later. Discipline is also an important aspect in getting work done. You have to be disciplined enough by yourself to listen to your own directions. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, you need to stick to that. It's important to listen and to respect yourself. Discipline is not allowing yourself to get distracted or preoccupied, no matter how badly you don't want to do whatever it is that you need to do. I could make a whole video on how this works, and I might do that eventually. Set reasonable goals though. Set goals that you know you can accomplish without overwhelming yourself and giving up completely. Break your larger task up into reasonable sized parts. Things that you know you're able to do within a given time. Don't make yourself do everything at once. It'll probably feel much easier. Don't be too hard on yourself. Set a goal for the day or for the week and work towards accomplishing that, and repeat. You'll feel much more productive. And most importantly, when you do accomplish your goals, when you do finish whatever it is that you're working on, be proud of yourself. Give yourself some credit. You just did something that was probably difficult and that you probably didn't want to do for whatever reason. Now it's time to reward yourself. Relax. You did it. That's something to be happy about. Any progress is better than no progress. And now that I finished recording this, I'm gonna go relax. If you clicked on this video, you probably need a break. Maybe you're procrastinating taking one. Well, this is your sign. Why not do it? Give yourself some time away from life and away from work and relax. Plan a vacation or do something fun. There are many good reasons to take a break. Many of them will benefit you in the long run whenever you come back. As an example, have you noticed that whenever you take a break from any sort of creative work and come back later, you usually feel more motivated to do it and refreshed, less stuck, even with a short break? This happens to me a lot when making videos. I'll be stuck on writing a script or something, go have lunch, and when I come back, things seem easier. It's because taking some time, even just a few minutes, lets your brain reset and you can come back with a new perspective. This can help a lot with work or projects. Taking some time away from what you're working on can be a big reset for your productivity when you come back. Now, how about for longer breaks, like a vacation? The same thing applies. It'll help you reset and feel better when you come back. Plus, you get to have some fun and experience new things. It's a win-win. Experience also inspires creativity. It's hard to be creative when life is mundane. A lot of times, creativity, no matter what type, comes from new ideas. It's hard to get new ideas when all you experience is the same thing over and over every single day. New experiences can help your creative juices get flowing again in your brain. Taking a break or going on vacation is a great way to experience new stuff. Plus, you never know what you'll come across and what stories you'll be able to tell later, and it'll all feed into your creativity. Relationships with those around you can also be bettered if you spend your time off with the people close to you. Say you've been working non-stop. That gives you less time to be around family or friends or your partner if you have one. So doing something fun together on your time off can definitely help to better your relationships, and I'm sure they'd appreciate the extra time with them too. No matter what your situation is, it's important to de-stress from time to time, to give yourself a break, both physically and mentally. It'll benefit both your physical and mental health, and you'll feel better afterwards. And who knows, you may come back with a whole new perspective. And you'll probably experience a lot of things that you wouldn't have otherwise experienced if you didn't take a break.